yeah.
Candid with
I'm really excited for you to check out this interview.
Candid with Kimbra.
Hey y'all, I just wanted to say how you doing, and thank you so much for checking out my new podcast theme music. I know the music for a podcast is not going to make or break a podcast, but it's good to change things up once in a while, right? And I co-wrote that theme music with a very talented musician. His name is Paul ILL out of Los Angeles, and it was engineered by Wonzer. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you to them because they did a great job. And yeah, we're doing a lot of things. I still have my producer, Craig Mitchell, and we're not rebranding, but we are, I'm kind of trying to get a little more focused with what I am going to be showing you all and talking to people about. So stay tuned because I think there's going to be a lot of good changes coming along. We're still with the podcast playground, and we're getting a lot of listeners through that. So that's audio only, but you can find it on their website, Podcast Playground. So yeah, today's guest is Bognar, and he's a very talented musician, and I'm looking forward to chatting with him. He's kind of comedic in a way, and I feel really badly because I was supposed to go see him the other night at Dragonfly. And do you ever have it where you just have so many events and you try to squeeze everything in to one night? And I have a tendency to overbook my schedule and commit to things, too many things. And I've spoken with my producer, Craig Mitchell, about this. And I told him that I have to learn to say no to things, right? But I feel really badly because, Bobby is really talented and he's funny. So we're going to learn more about his act, his band. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know Bobby. I think it's Bognar. I'm looking forward to getting to know Bobby. So let's get into it.
Welcome to my podcast where I'll be speaking with guests candidly about interesting topics. So join me on Candid with Kimbra.
I haven't been to the Sky Bar in 20 years, man.
Oh my gosh.
Is it still awesome?
It was. I mean, I've been a few times now because they do these events there about every few months where they're trying to promote the pictures that they take,
Yeah.
And it was the Doors 60th anniversary and of the Doors, I guess. And I'm supposed to be doing, or at least I'm involved with this project that has the Doors in it. So I really had to go to that too. And luckily my friend wanted to celebrate her birthday there. Now I'm bummed I didn't go because I was like, your act looked, and it didn't look like you had any other shows coming up. But let me introduce you first of all.
Sure.
Yeah, so today my guest is Bognar, and I'm really excited about hearing about your group. Is it called Handsome? Is the name of the group Handsome?
You're pretty close. It's called Bobby Bognar's Handsome.
Oh, okay. So a little play on words there, right, Bobby?
Yeah. The apostrophe does a lot of heavy lifting there. Bobby Bognar is handsome, or Bobby Bognar's band Handsome. It kind of works both ways. Yeah.
So it's like whatever you want it to be, you can sort of change it around, right?
Exactly right. Well, for a long time, I've thought, Handsome would be a great name for a band.
Right.
Kind of ironic and, self-deprecating a little bit. But then when we put it together and I saw there was a band that had put out an album in the, I guess, late 90s or early 2000s called Handsome. And I thought, well, I don't want to lose Handsome, but I can't be the same thing. And then I thought, wouldn't it just kind of be funny to call it Bobby Bognar's Handsome?
A little, irony. So how do the other guys in the band feel about you being handsome, the handsome guy?
Well, I tell them the apostrophe means the other thing, that they're the band Handsome and it's my Handsome, right?
Oh,
so
I see.
I tell them the other story. No, they all think it's fun. And let me tell you, the group of guys and one gal that I'm with are just a terrific bunch. It's a real great system we have here of everyone getting along very well, everyone putting into it, but they are my songs. So they knew that coming into it.
I am the group, darn it.
Well, no, I don't say that at all. When I'm out on stage as a solo act, I'm happy to say, yeah, it's all me. But Bobby Bognar's Handsome wouldn't be anything without the handsome.
Right. They put the handsome in the handsome.
That's right.
Well, that's awesome. But okay, so I was looking at your website this morning because I missed your show. Like I was telling you, I feel so badly. And I haven't been to the Dragonfly in years,
Oh my God. I haven't been there in 20 years. In the 2000s, I played there probably a dozen times, and it was a dump. And let me just tell you,
Is
whenever
it
they
still
did
a
this
dump? No, I'm
renovation,
kidding.
it is gorgeous. It is
Really?
like it's like a movie set, chandeliers and velvet couches and just gorgeous things, a real nice stage. And, when you play in a place like that as a rock band, you're not always in that kind of nightclubby
Sure.
scene as a rock band. I think you worry a little bit that there might be some of the Hollywood attitude that doesn't really gel with rock and roll. But boy, it was great. Real nice venue. We played great. For once in a long time, I saw a band that I just absolutely loved was on the bill with us, called The Last Slice, and I just thought they knocked my socks off. So it was a great night. But there will be more shows. You can come to another one.
Well, I was looking, and it seemed like that was the last one for a little bit, though, right?
Yeah, it kind of is. I've got one more show on the books this year. I've got a big calendar set up for the rest of the year. I'm going to be in Orlando for the next couple of months for my
Mm.
day job. But then I'm going to be in New York working on a play for October and November. So yeah, the LA shows are down, but I'll probably have New York when they come up. But I
Wait,
know
wait, Bobby,
that
but when you say you're working on a play, what do you mean? Are you in it? Did you write it? What's the deal?
yeah, I was cast in a musical, and it'll be going up in October off Broadway. Very excited about it. I am not supposed to say what the play is or
Sure.
the theater yet because it's contracted, but I'm not signed yet. But maybe I can come back on and announce it when it comes on. But
I
yes,
would
it's my
love that.
first my first big show really since college. I was an acting major in college, and I haven't done it in forever. And one of the things that I hope we get out of this interview, I'll just put it up front, is that the last few years, I've kind of rededicated myself to putting myself out there creatively, doing things that I hadn't done before. So, the last couple of years I've done stand-up comedy. I've played big rooms for that. I've songwritten with other people, which I've never done before. I've produced some other stuff for other people, and now I'm getting to do this play, which I've never done before. Plus,
Oh, that's
Bobby Bogner's Handsome just put out their first album a month and a half ago, and it's been a wonderful creative time for me. So if we get a message out today, it's just do it. Just try.
It's so funny you should say that because I kind of went through a similar thing as you. I mean, I've always been doing stuff ever since, I'd say my late teens, I went to acting school and all that. But I recommitted to being more focused right around COVID time, actually, because I started writing songs again and I hadn't really written songs for a long time and I had all this time, so I was just like, and I went back to school and I finished up my bachelor's degree that I never did. I mean, I just did everything that because you have all that time, right? And so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I just did my first little musical equity reading, stage reading, I guess you'd call it, about 2 months ago in Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't done it forever, so I know exactly what you're doing, and I think that's wonderful. I'm all about, I don't know, I don't want to say second chances, but I'm all about doing. It's never too late to do what you want to do, basically.
It's true. It's true. And the other thing is, trying things that are a little bit out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you find something that excites you more than you could possibly imagine.
Mhm.
So just try it. Really, what's the worst thing that happens if you go and you bomb an audition or you write a song that sucks or you get up there on an open mic night and bomb? What's the worst thing that happens? What it does is it strengthens you for the next time.
Oh, I know. I know. I have a friend of mine who's a songwriter. He's been sort of a mentor to me, and he wrote with Voice and Heart. You remember them,
Mhm.
Bobby?
Sure.
Voice and Heart. They wrote songs for that group called the Monkees, right?
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, he's always telling me stuff like, because when I started writing songs again during COVID, he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good. You're gonna get better," because I was thinking, "Oh man, this is the best thing I've ever written." He's like, "You're gonna get better. You're gonna get better," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, okay." But like you said, it's just like you keep doing it, and it's not always your last thing is not always going to be your best thing. It's kind of like a journey,
It's
right?
always a journey. Yes. And boy, oh boy, if I knew that, if I really understood that when I was 23 and I moved to Los Angeles, it would have been a different thing, you know?
I know.
But the truth is that, you know, when you talk about writing songs and they might not be great. So my new thing for the last couple of years, because what I always did was I always said, "Oh, if this isn't going perfect, I'm just going to throw it away and not finish it." My
Mm,
new thing is finish anything I start songwriting wise, because either later it'll turn into something else, or I'm getting some garbage out of my head that's in the way that might show up again. So there's no downside to finishing it. And the way that I've been able to really kind of improve my output in the last few years has been sitting down and saying, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to stand up from this session until I finish something with, like, you know, two verses and two choruses and a bridge,
mm,
whether or not I ever play it again. But finishing it and knowing that it's there, that I could go back to it if I wanted to, or I've just erased that from my mind for the next thing. Either one of those is a powerful thing.
yeah, no, I totally know what you're saying. And sometimes, like even when you're writing, I was in a writers group for a while, and they would always say, you know, to be a real writer, you just have to like write every day and just boom, put it out on the thing, you know, put it out on the
Yeah.
computer, like just spit it out, right?
Yep.
And it's a similar thing as to what you're saying, like just write a chapter or write a couple paragraphs or write something, right?
Right. Well, the toughest part about being any kind of writer is writing, right?
Yes.
You can have all these ideas, but until you sit down with for me, it's a Sharpie on white paper. That's how I always write my songs. Or if you're in front of your computer, or, you know, if you're working on your play in some script program, the hardest part is literally doing it, because all of us creatives have these beautiful creative ideas. And unless we actually get them down, they're just locked in there and no one else gets to see them. So it makes a lot of sense to go through I call it like a gym routine, right? It's like you can't skip leg day, you know?
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
you've got to do your leg days.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And now with technology too, I get a little like with lyrics, you know, like on my
Mhm.
phone. It's usually by my bed, so I just go, "Oh," you know.
Oh, 100%. This is the best tool. Best tool.
I know, because then it's there too. You know, I have stuff from like 2 years ago. Oh yeah, I remember that. You know.
Well, for songwriting, the voice notes app has been just a
Oh
huge thing for
yeah.
me. And so I do keep mine next to my bed, and I have something like 600 little notes that I've done from bed, and they're all in whispers because I don't want to wake up my
Yeah,
wife, you know. So
of
it's always
course.
like I'm 3 in the morning and I go, "Da, da, da, da," you know.
And you got that morning voice.
Right. Exactly.
What is that tool you just said? I mean, what was the app that you just
It's
mentioned?
just voice notes, right? It's
Oh,
just
voice notes. That's what I use. I think
yeah.
that's what I use. Yeah. Mhm.
Because I use the notepad too if I have a lyric. But the thing that I really love is just catching a melody and not losing it. You know, so many times if you don't put it down right away, you forget it, and you go, "Oh, I
True.
know, I was just thinking that was amazing." You
I
know,
know that was the
how did I
best thing I
forget to
ever
put it?
wrote.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's the
that's
best thing anybody ever wrote.
I
Okay,
know.
Kimbra?
I know, right? Let's be specific here.
Right. Yeah.
So how did the show go at Dragonfly?
Oh, it was wonderful. This band is really gelling. You know, I was in a band for 21 years called the Piper Downs. That's kind of where I had my most success. We put out records and we toured across the US. We toured in Australia. We toured
Oh,
in UK and Mexico.
right.
You know, we got to a lot of stuff on soundtracks. It was great. And I never got famous. But there were a few years where I made my money off of it, and you know, I still get a little residual from it, which is fun. But this one, now obviously I'm older than I was 20 years ago. You
Right.
know, this one with a bunch of guys and a gal who really know what they're doing. It just gelled into a really great unit that not only am I proud to play with, I mean, I'm proud to be a part of this group, but it just makes it so much easier when you can express yourself with musicians who are seasoned and know what they're doing. And when I have an idea and I can, you know, get them to recognize my visualization, or whatever you call that in audio terms,
Yeah.
you know, it's really a powerful tool. So
Right.
yeah, the show was great turnout, great venue as we discussed before. I could, you know, I live to play live.
You
That's my thing. As much as I love songwriting and recording and all that, playing live is just the true joy, you know?
and you'll see. Have you? Okay, so you're doing the Broadway or off Broadway thing in New
Uh-huh.
York. It's is it acting or is it
It
a?
is. It's a
Okay.
musical, but it's acting and it's a part. It's a real part in a new original musical,
And you'll
with
see
songs and everything.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that for me,
Yeah.
that's the ultimate like musical acting, but especially when it's a musical, because you get that immediacy of the crowd and and to hear laughter or applause, and you're just like,
Yeah.
it's just such a thrill, right?
100%. Although I haven't felt it in that kind of environment since I was in college, right? I mean, since I've been in LA, I've done some commercials and little bit parts and things, but the live theater thing has been a while.
Wow, I love the theater. It's just, I remember I've done so many plays and then I stopped for a while because, well, it's a big commitment, because
Yes.
if you're lucky to get a run of some sort, it's like every night, except for maybe 1 or 2 nights off, and your whole life is that play or the musical. And then also a lot of them didn't pay that much. So it was like you were like doing all this work.
You sacrifice for your art. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell you that this is going to be a huge money-making opportunity for me. But it's a 2-week run and another week for blocking and rehearsals in the theater space. And so, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for my art. Plus, think about it. If I was gonna say, okay, I want to, spend $3,000, I'm making up the numbers. I don't know what I'm going to spend. If I want to treat myself to this really special experience, going to Europe,
Hmm.
taking a cruise, something like that, you wouldn't hesitate to do that if it was something you thought would be a meaningful experience. So, getting paid a third of what I would normally be getting paid to do something this exciting is certainly, I think,
Well,
valuable.
if you could afford to do this, it's probably something you would do for free. You know what I mean?
Well, if it was in LA, I would do it for free,
Yeah.
but they're making me go to New York.
Yeah. So you need a little bit of money. Gosh. So when you say off Broadway, gosh, it's been a while. So is it like Midtown area or do you
It's okay. I don't know anything about New York, but I Googled this myself the other day, right? And it sounds like the whole thing, Broadway and off Broadway, is kind of in the same area. And I know your viewers are going to come back and say you're just wrong, but this is what Google told me the other
know?
day,
Okay.
is that like Broadway is theaters that have a capacity of 500 and up, and
Okay.
off Broadway is theaters of capacity of 100 to 500. So I'm not swearing to that accuracy, but
Yeah,
that's what I
because
found.
off Broadway could mean, so many things, and then they
Could
have
mean New Jersey.
yeah, off
Right,
Broadway.
right, right.
Right? It's like, but yeah, I used to spend a lot of time in Midtown, where like the 42nd Street, which has really changed a lot. So this is your first time like spending time in New York?
No, I've spent time in New York before. The Piper Downs toured through New York.
Oh, okay.
I've been there several times, um, but I don't know anything about it. It's like, if I go to Cabo San Lucas 3 times, I don't know anything about it. I'm
Yeah,
just
right.
having a good time.
The only time you really get to know it is if you actually live there or stay there for a good, like
Oh
month
yeah,
or two, you know.
yeah,
Do you have a place to stay or are they putting you
yeah.
up?
They're putting us up. Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
Well, congratulations. It
Well,
sounds
thank
so
you.
exciting.
Oh, it's a dream come true. Like literally since I'm 7 or 8 years old.
Oh, you made it happen. Like you
I
visualized and you made it happen.
I had someone much younger than me meet me at the show the other day. She was like 23 or
Uh-huh.
24, and she said, "Hey, the band was great, and I heard about the play, and I'm so excited. For you, I'm trying to be an actor too." And I
Right,
said, "Well, just know that I've been doing this since I was a kid. I'm 55 now, and
right.
I just get to tell you right now that I just got cast in a off-Broadway show. So don't stop. You're never going to win a race that you quit.
Yeah,
So
that's
if you
true.
if you have to do it like I do. I have to be creative. I have to
That's
be
true. That's
making
true.
it. Then don't stop. And if you don't, then don't. Because, there's so much pain and frustration in this business, right? We get told no far more times than we're told yes. And you
And
just
then
have to
sometimes you'll
believe
get
that it's right
lucky.
for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll have a couple, spurt where it's like, yes, yes, yes. And then you'll have years of no. So the thing is, like, if I had kids that were pursuing the business, I always tell people this, that I would be like, don't do it unless you can't do anything else. Like you said, like you have to do it
right.
because for me, like when I was younger, like 18, 19, I tried to be an international business major because I felt like I wanted to please my family. And if I
Yeah,
would have just been a little bit more like cognizant, I would have been more focused from that young age because look, I'm still doing it now. It's
yeah.
like, why
No
wasn't I
kidding.
just all in at like 18?
Well, actually, the truth is that I was in school at Virginia Commonwealth University in the theater program as an acting major.
Hmm.
And after 2 years, I said, you know what? I feel like I'm not going all in.
Right.
Yes, I can finish and get this degree, but then I have a degree back in Virginia. And right now, there's no reason that I can't move to Los Angeles where the action is. And I actually
Right.
moved out here for acting, but before I could get anything going, the music kind of took off, and it was like, and it's been such a great ride. The one thing that I have in my past that kind of tied into that was I hosted a show on the History Channel called Food Tech.
Hmm.
And it was a food and travel show that fell into my lap, by the way. You know, that was one of those lucky things. It was just like keep putting yourself out there and something might accidentally fall in your lap.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I got hired to do one episode of what was supposed to be a special on History Channel about food production. And before
Oh,
we were done filming the pilot, History had ordered a whole season and it was unexpected. So going back to your earlier point though, we did food tech and it finished its run. I would have loved for it to go on for 5 or 6 more years, but it didn't. And for the next 2 years, I was getting meetings with network heads, with producers, with TV, saying, we're going to make this go, we're going to make this go. And I just thought, oh, this is my career now. I'm going to be doing TV the rest of my life. And like you said, it goes dry sometimes, no matter how good your reviews are, no matter
yeah.
how much people are telling you are great. And so, I shot a bunch of pilots in the years after Food Tech, but none of them ever went to series. And, of course it's disappointing, but part of the maturing as an artist is recognizing that not only is that unavoidable, you know, but when you do get booked, it's so outstanding that you need to use that fuel to carry you forward, no
That's
matter
so
how
true.
long it takes till you get your next one.
That's
I'll
so
always
true.
have the food tech experience. And there are people who would kill or die for what I got to do then. So if I look back on it and go, oh, it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun, but then it just kind of fell off. That doesn't help anything. But if you
Yeah.
look back and go, I got to travel to Costa Rica, I got to travel to Mexico. It allowed me to open my own restaurant. I got certified as a barbecue judge. I, toured
Yeah.
and did all kinds of food competitions.
I,
It was wonderful.
I was just listening to a podcast with Mark Maron and Alexander Skarsgård,
Uh-huh.
the actor, and he was saying when he first came, he was like when he first was here, I don't know, I think he said 18, 19, he got a pretty good part in a really high profile movie. So he moved here and he was like, guys, it's America's amazing. You get all this, you get work right away, blah, blah. And then I think he didn't get something for like 3, 4, 5 years after that. And so
Wow.
he just was going to acting class and now look at him and he's like, working a lot.
Yes, A-list right there.
Yeah. And so I was just thinking, see, that's interesting that, someone even at his level, like didn't work. It was for at least 3 years, and so that's tough because you might think, am I doing the right thing? But, if it's in your blood, you've just got to do it.
Yep.
Live or die.
Yes.
So, no, I want to know, okay, your band Handsome or Bobby Bognar's Handsome.
Yeah.
How would you describe it? You said power, is it power punk or what kind of
It's
music?
I call it rock music
Okay.
because it's got electric guitars and we're loud. That's why I call it rock music.
Right.
But it touches on country and it touches on pop and it touches on punk. It's all accessible audially, right? Like we're not a screaming sonically offensive band. I always like to think that we're melodic, we're super high energy, and it's really fun. And I think that I kind of made my name in songwriting being like a sarcastic guy, like making jokes in my songs and being self-deprecating. And the
Right.
last year or so, I've really worked hard on uh, trying to put out a real positive, uplifting message to people. So fewer jokes, still jokes, but fewer jokes and more. Let's recognize what we have here right now together.
Hmm.
It's so important that you and I are here together right now. But then when you're on stage in front of people and you're sharing this one-time experience with them, I think that's also important. And so that's kind of been my songwriting motivation for the last year or two.
Yeah, I had another guest that was saying the same thing. It's like, I guess it's all part of that too, that thing of being present, and just really enjoying that moment, being, in the moment, as they say, right?
Right, because that moment will never come again. And it sounds so cliche, right? But you also never know what's going to happen, right?
It's true.
Especially you and I being in this town, Kimbra, you know that you can meet someone and 20 years ago, and then you see them once in that 20 years, and then all of a sudden they call you up and they say, hey, you'd be great for this thing. And that happens all the time in this town, right? So you never know what is going to lead to the next big thing. I'm going to tell you that this part in this play that I can't really talk about the details,
Yeah.
that came out of me meeting a guy 20 years ago. running into them every once in a while. And then last year on my putting myself out there for creative journey stuff, saying, "Oh, let me help you with a reading." I hadn't done it in years, but I'll just want to help you. And
Sure.
that's what turned into this thing. So it's a combination of being a good guy, making sure that you're someone that people want to work with,
Sure.
right? Making yourself available, and then also taking creative risks.
That's true. Like so I had someone on the podcast a few months ago who's an old friend of mine. I used to tour with the USO when he was a comedian that opened for us.
Oh, I've heard those are great. I've heard those USO
Oh
tours are great.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
kill to do it again. I so did not appreciate it at the time because I was super young and they're like, we're going to Africa and I'm like, oh, okay, Africa.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, when you get off the plane, I'm like, oh,
I was in Africa.
well, when you get there, you're just like, oh my God, we got
Oh,
monkeys
right.
on our balcony, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, this is so weird, and it's just so beautiful. But I was so naive and so stupid, But and we went everywhere, Middle East, Korea. We had the time of our lives, and I still am good friends with the group, the core group. But there was a comedian, him and his buddy. They had a routine that they had been doing for a long, long time. They went with us because you always needed to have men. It was better to have men like kind of be your security, but also they were our opening, right? And so anyway, his name's Bob Earhart, and he was on a few months ago, and he was talking about his stuff that he's doing now. And so somebody that watched the podcast was like, she would be right because it's his friend, and she'd be right for this movie that we're doing, And so you just never know what's going to lead to.
You don't. And just remember that from day one, right? Because we all have regrets, I've had bad days and been a jerk to someone and then gone, oh, did that cost me something,
Yeah.
But when you realize that it's just better for you spiritually and professionally to be the good guy and to be kind to everybody you meet in this city, it'll pay off for you.
I think so. I mean, I do it just for life reasons. Like I think nobody's better than anybody else. The people that wash your car, the people that serve you the food. We're all in the same thing together. However, I do have every once in a while I have bad days, especially on the phone. Like when I've been put on hold for like 20 minutes. I'm like,
that's
do
an
you
exception.
realize?
Yeah, you're allowed to get upset about that kind of
It's
stuff.
like I was, when I'm really, really had it, I'm like, I thank you for using the last hour and a half of time I will never get back.
Yeah, that's the other part about moments only coming once is you just
But
lost that moment.
I know that's the only negative thing about I think all the technology now that like I kind of miss like talking like someone answering the phone and going, "Oh yeah, can I help you?" Now it's just like press one for this, press two. And then there's like 10 of them for every one that you press.
Right.
That's my pet peeve, right?
Yep.
Anyway, so okay, so you guys aren't doing anything in locally anyway for at least
Right. Well, I mean, we are doing things. Our first album just came out a month or two ago, 2 months ago, getting great reviews, but we've already started recording our new album. So here's my plan. My plan is that in December or January, we're going to release our next album with our next show in Los Angeles. And when that happens, I'll let you know. And you better come to that one,
I'm
okay?
definitely going now because I'm like his stuff is good. He's funny.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you.
even I've just been so overwhelmed. I told you, like, I had to go to this. I didn't have to, but I was invited to a listening party last night for another group that was on the podcast. And then tonight I'm performing. I'm subbing for someone. This whole month I'm like subbing for people that can't do shows. Like I sing, I play a little guitar, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of like fitting, But it's fun because it's pushing me out of my comfort zone. Like they're doing songs that I've never done before, so I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
But that's a great example for people out there, especially filling in here in Los Angeles, being someone that can be counted on to do a good job at the
Sure.
last minute.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That pays off in spades.
Oh.
I've definitely been pulled into gigs that I didn't know anything that was going on, but I do know that they had a good time playing with me and I held up my end. And then you get asked back again, and you never know when one of those temporary gigs is going to turn into something permanent.
That's so true. I totally agree too. And just being professional. Like I've produced shows and I've had people call in the day of and just say, "Oh, I don't feel good," or something. And I'm like, and you're not going to, and you didn't even try to find me a sub. I just don't understand. It's like, so weird.
Well, respecting other people's time is a big part of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because that's especially in a power dynamic, like between a producer and talent underneath, right? You don't want to waste their time because that's when they'll cut you off.
Sure.
If you have undeniable talent and you're an asshole, A lot of times that'll keep you going. Okay, if you're undeniable. But if you're even slightly less than undeniable and an asshole, or you're wasting people's time, you're just
Well,
not going to work.
and you probably feel this way too as you start getting more experienced. You sometimes you'll sacrifice a little bit of talent for the reliability and people that you
A
get
hundred
along with.
percent.
You
No,
know,
the most important thing I think in Los Angeles, for me, what I've seen in music and television is that you need to be someone that people want to work with. That's the
hmm
number one thing, right? Because
true.
there's lots of skills you can learn and get better at. There are talents who are so amazing that you can overcome a revolting personality, but most people aren't going to bother with that.
Yeah, and you might have to do it once. They may do it once because they're in a bind, but
Right?
they're not going to think of you for the other times.
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
And that's something that people don't realize. I tell people that I work with a lot, like you know, um, what's the word? Gosh, you got to be kind to everyone, but also you have to be reliable. You have to be professional. I know what I was going to say. You have to be good at networking too. Like you don't want to burn your bridges, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
You know?
That's true because what's the saying, like something like be nice to everyone in Hollywood on the way up because you're going to see them on the way down too.
That's so true. Like Jerry Seinfeld, I heard him say, when he was getting out of his show, they were like, "Why are you doing it now?" He goes, "Because I see the trajectory, and I'm only going to go down from here."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a luxury of the successful to be able to quit on top.
That's true. I
You
know.
know,
Hopefully, we'll get that chance again too, right? You and I quit it when we're at top.
right.
And so, yeah. Well, I'm really happy for you that you have this great energy too. Like you're really
Oh,
fully focused on what you're trying to do, and you're staying, and you have a team around. It sounds like you have a good support system around you. You
I
know.
sure do. I mean, again, my name is in the band's name, but it definitely is a band, definitely a team.
How did you meet these people in your band?
Oh, great question. So, I told you about the Piper Downs. So,
hmm
for about 3 years, my current drummer, Jason
hmm
Rarick, was the drummer for the Piper Downs. He moved to New York and left the band. And then 20 years later, he texted me and said, I'm in LA. Let me know if you are looking for anybody. So, he's my drummer. My bass player is a guy named Norman Kelsey, who played with a band called Bat Country for years that I really liked.
Bats,
My
BAT country. Is that what you said?
BAT, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas reference.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Bat Country. My guitar player Ian is a guy. He played in a punk rock band called Get Out, and I walked into a bar one night and I saw him playing solo acoustic, and I was just blown away with his playing and with his songs. And I not knowing the guy at all, I said, "Hey, my name's Bobby. Here's a couple songs. Let me know if you think you'd be interested in playing with me." And he got back to me immediately and said, yes. And this guy's just a
Wow.
monster.
Wow.
And then our backup singer, Jedra De La Luna, is a solo artist. She's recorded backups on many major labels. And she's a songwriter in her own right. And I've known her for years because I loved seeing her play. And I asked her if she would just come and sing backups on one song on the first record. And then she was like, "Well, can I sing it live?" And I said, "Yeah." And then this Thursday's show, she sang on every song, so she's really part of the band now.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, that's how we met. That's how we put it together. You said you were active during COVID, and one of my big regrets was that I was not. I really wasted that time. Not wasted it. I stayed in shape and did
Right.
stuff like that, but creatively, I didn't take the most advantage I could have. And when we got out of COVID, I said to my wife, "Oh, I miss rocking so much. I miss playing live music. I was playing acoustic and stuff, but I wanted to have the rock in it." And I said, "You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to form a new band." And it turned into Handsome. But what I did before I had the songs, before I had a band, I booked a show 8 weeks from that date. And I told my wife, now I've got a deadline. And I wrote the first 10 songs, put together the band, rehearsed it, and in 8 weeks, there was the first Handsome show.
Wow.
So putting a deadline on me really helped me out because otherwise, who knows how long it would have taken me to get there. And
Yeah.
now we've been together almost 3 years, working on the second album, and better than ever.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I need deadlines because I get real, too many things
Yeah.
done. So, um, Now, you guys have a website, obviously, right? Is
Yeah,
it?
BobbyBognar.com, and that covers all of my stuff. So that's where you can see stuff about the Piper Downs. You can see stuff about my little country act that I play with every once in a while called the Bognar Brothers and Bobby Bognar's Handsome. And then as soon as the play details come up and I can get you a ticket link, that'll go up there too. But at
Oh,
Bobby Bognar on all social media and BobbyBognar.com on the
what is
web.
this country duo that you mentioned? What kind
The
of?
the Bognar Brothers. It's my brother Nick, who is
Hmm.
an excellent songwriter
Hmm.
and a very good singer. And we get together. And if you wanted to go on YouTube and plug the Bognar Brothers in, you'd see some fun country stuff. It's like country influenced. Um, and you'll see a lot of the jokes I was talking about. That was a real fun act. You
Oh,
laughed as much as you went, oh, bopped your head. You laughed more, you
that's
know?
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like, I toured Nashville, gosh, 2 years ago, year and a half ago with this Americana artist who's actually from LA, but he has kind of that like funny, kind of dark, kind of Johnny Cash-ish esque, but pop type stuff.
Well,
So
give him a shout out. What's his name?
Crosby
Okay.
Tyler. Yeah.
I'll take a
And
look. Yeah.
yeah, Crosby Tyler. He's got interesting stuff. I did backups on his album, and I think he had the drummer from X on some of the stuff. I don't know if it was this
Is that
project.
DJ Bone Break?
Yeah.
This, yeah. Mhm.
Not on this. I can't remember if it was this album that we did or one before, but I know he hired him a couple times. But yeah, Crosby writes very tongue in cheek, but dark but funny songs, and he got some play. But he's very dedicated, and yeah, it was a fun project. Yeah, Crosby Tyler.
I'll check it out.
Check it out. All right.
Let me put it in my
Well,
phone right now.
yeah, do that. So I will definitely be at your next show or shows, and I am looking forward to seeing your show live in the new year, right?
Ah, thank you. Yeah, that would be
I really
great.
am. I'm this morning, first thing I did because I felt so guilty, about not going. And I was like, I'm like, but he's actually good. I'm like, what did I
Well, if you want a little taste to hold you over,
do?
you can always go to Pandora or any of the
Yeah,
streaming services and ask to listen to Piper Downs, which was
yeah.
the old band, or Bobby Bogner's Handsome. It's on all the streaming services.
Okay, I was gonna ask
Um,
that. So it's all
and
on.
I In fact, as long as we're here talking about the stuff, I do have one show in August, but it's not a Handsome show. It's actually a Piper Downs throwback show. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
last year I got asked to play a show of all Piper Downs music,
Hmm.
and so it was such a blast to revisit all those songs that I hadn't played in 10 years
Hmm.
that they asked me to do it again this year. So on Sunday, August, I want to say August 3rd, whatever the Sunday, 2nd or 3rd,
Hmm.
I'll be playing all the music of the Piper Downs downtown LA at the Redwood Bar.
Okay. Oh, I like that bar, the Redwood Bar. Because yeah, August 3rd is a Sunday.
That's the one, August 3rd. It'll
I'm
be
gonna
Bobby Bognar plays the Piper Downs.
I'm gonna put it in there. Maybe I'll get Craig to go, but I don't know. He's a hard one to get to go to things.
Yeah, Craig's putting too much into this show, by the way. I want tell him to shut up, okay?
What do you mean?
He's all over this thing, right? No, I mean he booked me for the show, and I thought at least I'd see him on the screen a little bit, and
Oh, I know.
he isn't good.
I asked him when he first started producing, do you want to be a co-host? He goes, no,
Mhm.
Kimbra, this is your show. This is your show. Yeah, so
Yeah. No, Craig's a great guy. For those of you who don't know, Craig, the producer, is the guy I know. He invited me to be on the show
yeah,
today, so I'm really grateful for that, and I'm sure he's great to work with.
he is. And he's got a show, Off the Cuff. It's a
Yeah.
cooking show.
Cooking show. Yeah, that's kind of how we got into it, right? I think Craig and I kind of started hitting it off because I was doing food tech and he was
Oh,
into that.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I think I asked him how he knew you, and he did explain, but I didn't realize that. Yeah, so his is called Off the Cuff, which has healthy. He makes food in a healthier way to
Yeah.
on his journey to lose weight.
Yeah,
Um,
and he's killing it right now.
yeah, I think he lost. God, I want to say like, oh, I don't know,
I
35.
saw a post the other day, like 35 or 40 pounds,
Yeah, I
something
think
like that.
35 or 40 pounds. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been on
amazing.
his show a couple times. He always gives me these character parts, which I love. Like, I got to play like this irritating neighbor. It was just a voiceover job, but it was like from, gosh, what was that show with the really smart people in it? And they were all like MIT, and I'm drawing a blank to the name of the show. But anyway, the irritating mother that you never really saw, he wanted a voice like that. So,
Right.
so he gives me these really unusual parts, which I like to do, so it's fun. you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, but so I have to get ready, believe it or not, for my show because I have to be at the sound check at 5. So I'm going
Awesome.
to, get ready and do all that good stuff. But it was such a pleasure, and so maybe you'll come back on when you can talk about your play, your rock
I
play.
would love to do that. I would love to do that, Kimbra.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And
Oh,
I thank you and Craig for inviting me on the show today. And
you're just
hopefully somebody watching this is enjoying it. And maybe they'll say, you know what, today I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do leg day.
yeah, but you're right. It's like I thank you so much for that message, to not give up or reignite your passion for something that maybe you have let wane a little bit,
Yeah.
and you're like me, you just keep going, and I love seeing that you have all these new opportunities that maybe you didn't think were going to happen again. I don't know. Or
Yeah. And also forgive yourself if your interest wanes for a little bit.
that's true.
Don't say I've been off so long, it's hard. Just go, oh, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, because I have a friend that she used to do all these USO tours with me, and she stopped to have kids, and so she stopped singing. And then when her kids got like 12, 13, 14, she was like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna start doing it. And she's totally like all in, full force, and
Yeah.
that's great, that
I
people.
love it when our friends are successful creatively. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, that's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bobby. And so I'll be talking to you soon, and keep me
Terrific.
posted about, all your new projects.
Will do. You have a great day and kill it tonight, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye bye.